Black Gold. Temptation of Wall Street Episode 3, Winners and Losers, The Law of Wall Street. A luxury penthouse overlooking the dazzling New York City skyline. Jane, James, and Sophia are standing next to the floor-to-ceiling windows, sipping wine and chatting. Jane is the first to speak.
You've been winning big lately, James. How about we celebrate at your penthouse tonight? Sounds like a plan. But let's not forget Wall Street offers opportunities to winners, but it's merciless to losers. Making money is one thing, keeping it is another. I learned that the hard way. The law of Wall Street, where fortunes are made and lost in an instant. Exactly. And tonight, we're going to talk about a man who was once called the God of Wall Street. You've heard of John McDowell, right? Of course. The man who laughed in the face of Black Monday in 1987. That's right. He was ahead of the market, predicting the crash before anyone else. He shorted the market at the perfect time and, in just one day, made hundreds of millions. On Black Monday, the Dow Jones plunged 22.6%, sending the world into panic. But McDowell, he leveraged S&P 500 futures and options, pocketing over $1 billion overnight. Quote, and yet, he lost it all. Why? It's simple. Winning once doesn't mean you'll always win. At first, he knew how to control risk. But the more he won, the bolder he became. He started gambling, not investing. Penthouse parties, supercars, flings with A-list actresses, that was just the beginning. Sophia smirks, intrigued. You know, there's an interesting takeaway here. John McDowell had an incredible ability to read the market. But what he lacked was what I specialize in: quantitative trading. Quote, so, if he had followed your models, he wouldn't have gone bankrupt. Possibly. My quant models prove one undeniable fact: the market never follows the same pattern twice. McDowell thought he cracked the code after Black Monday, but data proves otherwise. What worked once won't necessarily work again. Quote, Jane places her wine glass down and continues. Alright, my turn. Unlike McDowell, some investors leverage the market to build real empires. David Lewis. He was a venture capitalist who made $1 billion during the 1999 dot-com boom. But unlike McDowell, he didn't just play the market, he invested in actual companies. Lewis backed some of the biggest dot-com startups, like early Amazon and Google. He wasn't just a trader, he was a builder, using mergers and acquisitions to create value. Jane, as an M&A expert, I bet you'd admire him. I do. But even he wasn't immune to greed. Quote, what do you mean? He won big in the short term but failed to read the long-term picture. At the peak of the dot-com bubble, he used leverage to double down. But when the bubble burst, he lost 95% of his wealth in just months. Quote,
James twirls his drink thoughtfully. So, at the end of the day, the key to surviving the market is knowing when to walk away. Exactly. The real danger is greed and overconfidence. The moment you think you've mastered the market, it takes everything from you. Then who actually figured out how to win? Soros, Buffett, both. George Soros made $1 billion shorting the British pound in 1992. Buffett built an empire through long-term value investing. But they both had one thing in common: risk management. Soros leveraged reflexivity theory to adapt to shifting market conditions. Buffett ignored short-term volatility and focused on businesses with real, long-term value. Sophia concludes with a knowing smile. In the end, markets change, and people succumb to greed. But the true winners are those who recognize their limits and stick to their principles. Whether it's quant trading, hedge fund strategies, or M&A, the real victors are the ones who can control their own greed. Here's a sneak peek of the next episode: the 21st Century Investment Wars, Electric Cars, Bitcoin, In the next episode, we'll cover the new investment wars of the 21st century: electric cars, Bitcoin, Those who seized the greatest opportunity of this era, and those who lost everything. Which side will you be on? Subscribe and like, and join the war on Wall Street.